Hello. Good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Peo here, wrapping up your capital sins. Do the last two, as you see on the screen. Lust. We're going to break down lust and gluttony, describe it, identify examples for and against, and then you're going to go to Ed Puzzle and do some Ed Puzzles so I know that you did the lesson today. All right, so let's just roll. By the way, before I forget, your next class is going to be a quiz. Okay, and I'll describe that at the end of this lesson, but make sure you take good notes on today's lesson and you're ready to go to take a Socrative quiz next class. All right, so lust is defined as inordinate, unrestrained craving for sexual pleasure. This is the purest picture I could find, by the way, on this slide. You don't want to cause you to have lust while teaching you about lust, but just to recognize what it is. We all have appetites and desires that we can't control fully or perfectly. Okay, and sexual desire, if we can't control that, that's lust. We've talked about a lot about sexual morality already when we talked about marriage and how you have to be able to control that to authentically love the other person. Lust takes the good of sexual pleasure, raises it above the good of deepening the bond between husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, anybody. You see them as an object of pleasure. You don't see them as a person and their ultimate good rooted in God. There's no gift of self. There's simply an exploitation, a use of the other person. Lust turns a person into an object of pleasure. That's what lust is. You know the examples as well as I do. We talked about them a lot: pornography, fornication, masturbation, mentally fantasizing, and just as Jesus said, committing adultery in your head or your heart. That, of course, is an act of lust. Okay, it's very easy to do, especially for guys, I believe. Very common. You might be struggling with this more and more, especially some of you guys. You're just at the internet all day nowadays. You're stuck in front of the computer. It's constantly temptations, constantly pictures to ooh and ah over. It's a hard fight. But that's what your Ed puzzles are about today. They are about chastity. The opposite of lust, seeing somebody as an object of pleasure, seeing somebody merely for the satisfaction that they give you, the opposite of which is chastity. If you have chastity, you're simply looking at a person like, yeah, sure, they're beautiful. Sure, they're good looking. Mm-mm-mm. But I don't need to mentally fantasize about that. I don't need to imagine. I don't need to focus on that. I can look them in the eye. I can love and respect them. Chastity is the virtue that allows us to see the person first and what is truly good for them over and above sexual desire and pleasure. It's not denying that somebody's good looking. It's not denying even that you're sexually attracted to your boyfriend or girlfriend or to a complete stranger. You don't need to deny that. You just don't want to act on it mentally, emotionally, physically. You don't want to act on it. It's good to recognize, yeah, I'm attracted to this person, but that's not for me to pursue. Okay. Even when you're dating, even one day when you're married, chastity involves, yeah, perhaps I want to have sex right now, but it's simply not the best thing for my spouse. This is being able to control that capital sin of lust within us and to love more authentically. Okay. You can pause this video now if you want, or you can do them later, but you have three short Ed puzzles. Yes, three, one, two, three. Jason Everett, Philip Rivers, and follow Mike Schmitz, of course. Three videos on how to grow in purity and rules and guidelines they give to encourage you. All right. Here's the last one as we wrap up the capital sins. Capital sin number 7 on our list is gluttony, unrestrained, immoderate consumption. You just consume, 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 consume to a point that it's not healthy for you. You're simply giving into that appetite constantly. A gluttonous person fails to discipline themselves in a way that allows them to respect it. their own body. You don't regard the people you're eating with. You're not giving regard to your overall health. You're not giving any regard, perhaps even to God who gave you these gifts. It's just simply, purely, regularly personal satisfaction. That's gluttony of the appetite. Now, this could be, overeating too much lunch, and then you go to your next class and you just want to pass out. Well, maybe you shouldn't have had so much to eat. Sure, you were hungry, but you gotta eat moderately so that you can go to your next class and be attentive. Um, Even moving away from food and drink, drugs. I'm talking like opioids and to take too much of a medication. That's gluttony too. Simply devouring, acting like a pig at a trough, that can be gluttony. Maybe you only eat that one plate, but if you're doing it in a way that you're not attentive to the people around you, then there might be an issues. And of course, can't fail to mention drunk. Getting drunk, you're enjoying the drink of alcohol to whatever degree or level, but to drink it to the point where I just want to enjoy this or I want to enjoy this buzzed feeling is giving primary regard to your senses, to your satisfaction, disregarding your relationships with others, your relationship with God, your overall health, and the consequences of losing, full capacity of your brain. That's gluttony. It's an example of gluttony, hence why getting drunk is a sin. I just want to give you this fact. Hopefully, give you a little bit more motivation to fight sins of gluttony. 90% of addictions have roots in the teen years. 90%. That's huge, which means that if you can control your sexual appetite, if you can control your appetite for drink, if you can, really moderate and eat healthy, during these years, you're in your last year of teenage, if you can control it and do it right, you're on a path to do that so much more the rest of your life. It's really important that y'all take this seriously now. You'll be able to live it the rest of your life a lot better. So hopefully that gives you some more motivation to live right and not commit sins of gluttony and lust. But before we wrap up, we have one more virtue, which we've talked about already before. The opposite of gluttony, consume, 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 is not just don't eat. It's certainly not don't enjoy stuff. It's simply temperance, knowing when, where, and how to eat right and drink right. This neither denies the good. Temperance doesn't deny the fact that food tastes good, just like lust. If you have, well, you're not, if you have chastity, you're not denying that you're sexually attracted to somebody. If you have temperance, I'm not denying that gallon of Bluebell looks real good. What I'm able to do is just take a couple scoops and then move on with the rest of my day or night. A temperate person knows how to enjoy and when to avoid. All right. Virtue is a moderation. It's usually in between two extremes. You don't want to blow it off entirely. To enjoy things in moderation. Today, if you don't know, is though at least I'm filming this on Wednesday, the solemnity of the Annunciation. When the angel Gabriel was sent to Mary to announce that Jesus would be born. This is a big solemnity. So even during Lent, we get to feast a little bit as Catholics. Well, some of you probably watching this too late. Sorry, you have to go back to your Lenten practice. All right, that's it for today's lesson. As far as notes go, okay, you need to know, of course, what gluttony and lust is, what the opposing virtues are. Periods 1 and 2, you have to take a Socrative quiz on everything I've taught you online since we did school at home, all about sin and the capital sins by midnight on Monday. Midnight on Monday. You have all of Monday, periods 1 and 2, to take a quiz on Socrative. Everybody else, y'all take it on Tuesday. It's going to be vastly multiple choice. There'll be 1 or 2 short answer questions thrown in there. You're allowed to use your notes. Do not use the internet. I'm going to be checking Crostini, but I can only see maybe some of you on Crostini. It's up to you to be honest. A lot of teachers are struggling right now with students copying assignments. Listen, I'm letting you do this open notebook. Please honor that, and please take it on Socrative. You're going to be fine if you do those two things. Not the hardest material. So right now, go do those 3 ed puzzles. Make sure your notes are in line. Quiz next class from Breaux Bridge, Louisiana. This is Mr. John Paoletti on behalf of Turner's Catholic High School. God bless.